So today I'm going to be talking about school and school dreams. There's a dream that I keep having where I'm in college and I'm taking a bunch of classes and I'm like barely keeping up with the classes. Like, I want to point out college was a very stressful time for me. So I have a bunch of classes in the dream and I'm trying to keep up with all the classes and I'm doing my homework in the dream, which is really weird. Like, I don't know who dreams of doing homework. That must have really stressed me out, huh? And all of a sudden, like, it's multiple days are happening and I keep going back to these classes. And this is in one night sitting. Like, when I have this dream, the same thing happens. And apparently all of a sudden, one of the classes that I was going to in the beginning of the dream, I don't go to that class anymore. Like, I just stopped going, but not consciously, because I was so busy worrying about the other classes that I just forgot about this class. So yeah, I forgot about this class, and then I'm like, it's the end of the year or the semester, and I have a F in one class because I forgot about it and I haven't been there in, days, weeks. I just stopped going to it. And that always scares me because then I'm always like, oh my gosh, I just failed like the whole thing. And it just made me really scared. College was a really stressful time for me, and the dream brings back memories of that. And that was always like a fear of mine in school, that I would have some work that I just forgot about or that I didn't know I had, and then I didn't do it, and then there would be problems because I would get a bad grade, and that really matters in college, especially. So now we're gonna talk about school. So I actually want to share a story about school, and I feel like this is maybe relatable to people out there. When I was in elementary school, middle school, and high school, even in college actually, when I was in all of the schools, and we would have group work, I had friends, but no, they were never in any of my classes. So when we had group work, I would be the one to go up to the teacher and be like, hey, can I please work alone? Because I knew nobody was gonna pick me to be in their group. And that sounds really, really sad, but it's true. It was something I was worried about, because a lot of the times for group work, I was one of the last people or the last people who didn't have anybody in their group, and then they had to go up to the teacher and be like, can you put me in a group with somebody? And it wasn't that I was afraid to ask people. I think I was afraid that they were going to be like, no, I don't want to be in your group. So I would just be like, it's one of those things like, you gotta reject the people before they reject you first, which is really unhealthy, and I should not have probably did that as a child. But it felt like a crippling fear of everybody's gonna be paired up and I'm just gonna be by myself alone. So I don't know. And that's another thing. When I was younger and when I was in school, when you're in a group, when you're doing group work, one of two things is going to happen. Sometimes the people in the group aren't going to do the work, and there's going to be a lazy person in the group or whatever. or the group is going to want to do some, especially if it's a creative project, the group is going to want to work on something, or they're going to pick a topic and you actually want to pick a different topic, and then all the rest of the group is like, yeah, so we're going to go with this topic that we said anyways. So, yeah, when I was a kid, I would always ask to be in a group alone because I knew nobody was going to pick me to be in their group. And that's probably not even true. Maybe, well, no, never mind. I can't say that because literally, like I said, I had to go up to the teacher, um, or, when nobody else was in the group and they ask, okay, who's not paired up yet? And I would be, one of the few people. So that's sad. I'm gonna start answering questions about school. So, what was my favorite subject in school? My favorite subject in school is definitely gonna be French. Um, in my school district, and this might be nationally, I don't know, you had to take a second language course to graduate high school. So, mm, so it was a choice between Spanish and French, and I picked French. No particular reason, I just picked French. So, French was my favorite subject in school, and that's because it was the only class that I could consistently get an A in. And that actually gave me a lot of confidence with schoolwork. Um, I didn't get bad grades, but it would just be unusual for me to be getting an A in high school. Um, so when I took French 1 and when I took French 2, I was really proud of myself and happy that I was getting an A. And that's every single time, too. um, yeah, and I had a really awesome French teacher, too. One of the reasons I think I liked French so much is because I really liked, and I didn't know this until I took French, that I like learning new words. And same for Spanish, really. When you know enough words and when you start hearing those words, you recognize them when you hear them places, and you be like, oh my gosh, like that means this and this means that, so I know this and I know that. So that's pretty cool. So what was my least favorite subject? And I guess really I'm talking about high school, so it seems like most of this stuff is high school, I guess. My least favorite subject was definitely history. Any history, or they called it social studies. So any history or social studies class, and I will tell you why. They had those maps. The maps. That was the hardest thing for me because all of the shapes kind of started looking like the same. And the way my school would do it, I guess I'm talking about middle school right now because I don't remember doing maps in high school, but we might have done maps in high school. In middle school, the maps that they give you, you don't have a word bank. You don't have a word bank, or they didn't give us a word bank, and all the shapes start looking like the same shape. And it was just really complicated and I didn't understand it. And the way they would do it is continents. You have to know all of the shapes on the specific continent for one quiz or a test. And that's how they would grade you on it. It was just way confusing for me. And I couldn't, and each week it seemed like we were doing a new continent. and I just couldn't keep up with that. And the names of the people, like in history, was really complicated for me because everybody's names started sounding like the same name. They just had basic names. And it was just really confusing. And the dates. It was hard to keep track of what was the specific century and what happened in this year, and I don't know. It was just really confusing for me. And the battles and the wars, and it was like hard for me to remember who was in what war and what war was in what year. It was a lot. I didn't like it. And I have like learning challenges. Um, so that is another thing that was complicated for me in school. Um, I'm gonna blame it on my Mercury and Taurus. Um, so another thing that I'm gonna talk about next is school lunch. So my school had a really I'm going to talk about what I liked the best first, and then I'll talk about things that I didn't vibe with, that were weird, that I didn't like. My school, at lunch, they had these cookies that they put like marshmallow, they must have. I don't know how you infuse cookie and marshmallow, but they put like marshmallows in the cookies because the cookies had this overwhelming like marshmallow taste in them, and they had chocolate chips in them as well, and they were so good. I had never had cookies that tasted like they had marshmallows in it before. So that was my favorite thing. Every day at school I would get the cookies with the marshmallow taste in it. So now I'm going to talk about something that I didn't like about school lunch, and that would be how they had the yams that had marshmallows on top of them. And I thought that was so weird and looked so nasty, and that would always be like something I would never get because it just didn't look right. And you know, people eat with their eyes and everything, so I want to share a story of when I was younger, and this probably was maybe in all three of the schools: middle school, elementary school, and high school. So I graduated in 2014. I wasn't in school recently at all. And when I was in school, we had projectors that the teacher would it's called a projector because it projects the picture of what the teacher is writing onto the board, the whiteboard. And not a smart projector either. I'm talking about the one with the lights and the glass that is made out of like the old computer material, PVC, I think. So I would be bored in class a lot, and a lot of the time I would look around the room in my classroom and just imagine stuff. And I remember looking inside of the projector, like from my seat. I'm not going up there opening the projector, but from my seat, there's like holes in the projector, and you can see through the projector, or you can see in it, is what I'm trying to say. And I would always notice all of the things in there because it's lit and everything, and I would always be like, because I used to watch Blue's Clues as a kid, and I watch it now. And I would, because inside of the projector, there's like, it looks like a classroom. So I would kind of like imagine myself blue skidooing into the classroom that's inside of the projector. And that was really fun. If you went to a school that had projectors in it and you looked in the projector like I did and you saw the classroom, please mention it in the comments. I couldn't have been the only one to have noticed that in the projector it looks like a classroom. Um, so that's gonna be it on school dreams. If you have had school dreams before, or you had the dream I was talking about where you have a class and you forgot about it and you're worrying about you're gonna get a bad grade in that class, please share it with me in the comments. And thank you so much for listening.